mental illness is nothing new in media. From One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest to Homeland, it's been prominent for quite some time now. But how it's handled varies. Like from BoJack Horseman and You're the Worst, they give their characters more depth and dimension than just being depressed or being bipolar. Whereas a show like 13 Reasons Why, they whittle down their characters to just their mental illness. And that's very dangerous because mental illness is not a character, it's a character trait. But I think society is just now realizing what mental illness is. It's exactly that, illness. I think it's important to recognize how the world views mental illness. And unfortunately, it's not a very flattering look. Professor Stephen Hinshaw from the University of California, Berkeley, said that the worst stereotypes come from depictions of violence, slavency, incompetence, and the worst of all, that feeling of being undeserving. And I think that's a dangerous stereotype because it gives it a very us versus them mentality. In fact, 1 out of 5 people in the United States are mentally ill, and there's one in particular that I want to address, which is depression. I've done this 4 times, and it still doesn't get easier saying that I suffer from depression. And it's something that I have a lot of personal experience with. And I hate telling that to people. I hate telling that to myself because I don't want to be known as that depressed guy. I want to be known as Gage. I do take medication for this, but it only mediates it. It doesn't cure it. Most days I don't want to get out of bed. I want to stay there, curl up, let my problems and responsibilities roll into the next day. I feel unwanted by my colleagues. I feel like a burden to my friends. I just feel generally sad. But to combat this, I watch movies, TV, YouTube. Because they tell me stories. And sometimes they tell me stories with people who have depression. People like me. One of my favorite characters is Gretchen from You're the Worst. She's loud, intrusive, just generally rude, but she also has clinical depression. And this comes to a head in the second season finale, where she can't physically move or speak because of how bad it is, and her community comes together to try to help her with this, and it's really a beautiful moment. And also, even real people like Nakey Jakey, who I can't believe is a real person because of how genuine he is. One of my favorite videos is him curled up in a ball in his bed talking about a dark time in his life, and that reminds me a lot of myself. I really felt that, and I wish I didn't get a lot of my information on mental health from media, because the media can portray the mentally ill as violent or criminal, or they can also portray him as childlike, quirky, and endearing. And I don't like that. It makes me feel different, makes me feel isolated, and makes me feel wrong for being me. And I hate that because I think the media, there's no right way to portray mental illness. It's easy to portray relationships forming and falling apart. It's easy to portray the hero's journey. It's not easy to portray mental illness because there's no right way to do it. What might be foreign to you might hit with me. And that's why I wanted to make this video. To say it's okay. It's okay if you feel different. It's okay if you feel isolated. There's nothing wrong with you. Depression can't be handled overnight. Depression is a part of me. But it sure as hell doesn't define me. Thank you for watching my video. I appreciate you taking the time to do so. Much love.